Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. Well, what's going on? We continue to march up, right? We're doing that march up in the market, trying to get to all-time record highs again, trying to set new records. They're trying to get that 40,000 print on the Dow. Will they do it? I'm not sure. If they keep staying above the 20-day, they're going to keep pushing this higher. As soon as we break below that 20-day, that's when I'm going to be coming in and I'm going to be shorting the market. But not until then. Right now, I'm not in it long. I'm not shorting it. I'm just watching it. I do think we're getting ready to break below the 20-day. Now, here's why. The CPI number came out hot, right? The PPI number, Producer Price Index, which is the wholesale index, that came out hot. So inflation is not only is it not going away, it's starting to accelerate. Now, if you listen to mainstream media, they're going to tell you that it's running 3.8% or something like that. By their own numbers, the CPI is telling you it's running at 5%. The PPI is telling you it's running at 6%. And if you measure it the way it was measured back in the 80s, it's over 8%. Now, how are they going to fight inflation when they have to lower the interest rates to save the banking system? And I do believe they're going to lower the interest rates because they actually want inflation. You see, inflation is good for the government. It's bad for me and you. You see, the government has the most debt, right? They got $35 trillion of debt. They got to inflate the debt away. Now, you ever notice that the Fed will even tell you that they want a 2% inflation rate? Why don't they just want it at zero? Well, the 2% is the amount of money they admit that they want to steal from you every year. 2% of your money. We want to steal that. That's our cost of doing business. That's what the Fed takes from you. This is wrong, so wrong. But okay, let's move on. Let's move on. I got a little carried away. But anyways, all right, let's go over to the housing market real quickly on the housing market. All right, what are realtors telling you right now? They're telling you to hurry up and buy now before home prices spike in the springtime. Okay, they'd say home prices are going to spike this spring. Now, they're saying that because they're thinking that the Fed's going to lower rates. Well, the Fed's not going to lower rates, not by springtime. Earliest maybe June, but even that, I think, is going to be taken off the table as we see the inflation starting to accelerate. And it's going to put downward pressure on the stock market. It's going to put downward pressure on the housing market. There will not be a spike in springtime. Take my word for that. Or go out and buy a house and see what happens. That's even a better way to do it. We all need a good laugh, right? I mean, a lot of moon boys watch me. A lot of moon boys think we're going to double and triple from here. But when they're telling you that we're going to get the spike in springtime, I'm just not buying it. Now, the reason they're telling you this is because they need you. If you don't go out and buy houses, the real estate business doesn't survive. The brokers don't survive. The loan officers don't survive. The escrow people don't survive. Rocket Mortgage already not surviving. Look it. They tell you to buy now, and that way when you get that spike up in spring, you can go and refi. Because they tell you by the end of this year, rates are coming down. Now, I do believe the Fed's eventually going to have to cut rates once the banks start falling over one after the other. And I think we're going to get to see that. The banks will dictate how the Fed cuts the rates, how soon they cut the rates. The banks will dictate that. As soon as they start falling over, the Fed's going to have to start chopping rates to save the financial system. See, we're still in a banking crisis, still in a financial crisis, and that's why the Fed is going to eventually have to cut. But that's not going to send houses higher, going to send them lower, going to send the stock market lower. It's counterintuitive. They're going to be cutting for a reason. They're going to be cutting because the banks are falling over. Now, what else? What other reason is the Fed going to be cutting rates for? They're going to be cutting rates because the job market, the layoffs that are happening right now, this is record. I mean, this is a record. Well, not quite a record. I guess you got to go back to 2009. The most layoffs in February since 2009. What was 2009? Was the financial crisis. People are losing their job. What happens when they lose their job? can't make their mortgage payment. What happens when they can't make their mortgage payment? They have to sell their house. They put it on the market. They don't put it on the market and they don't pay the mortgage. The bank takes it. Then they call me up and they say, Mike, put this house on the market at a fire sale price. We'll get out at any price. We don't want the house. Banks do not want to own your house. But if you lose your job, you're going to have a problem. Now, you see a lot of people out there. It's funny. It's funny. I get the texts all the time. Mike, it's impossible, completely impossible for the real estate market to crash or even have a correction. It's just impossible. They won't let it happen. Now, who's the they they're talking about? Well, they're talking about the Fed. The Fed doesn't want to see that crash, but they don't have a choice, right? They don't have a choice. Once the people get laid off, the houses start to come on the market. The Fed's going to have to lower the rates back to zero to save the banking system. So there is the possibility that we're going to have that crash I'm talking about, reverting back to the long-term moving average, about 40% down from here, that's all. But they'll tell you that everything's great right now. Mike, you keep talking about that crash. You keep talking the stock market, it's going to come down. You keep talking the houses are going to come down by 40%. Look, you don't have to believe me. You can go out and buy a house. I'm a real estate broker. I want prices to stay up. I have a lot to gain if prices stay up. I don't believe they will, but I'd be more than happy to sell you a house at the prices up here that Billy Bob got out at. You might be the last one to buy at the prices that Billy Bob got out at. I mean, you want to buy at the top, right? Write it down. It's going to be quite a ride, I think, but a lot of people don't think that it's even possible to have a correction, and the correction really, 40% isn't really a crash. That's a correction. Okay, in my opinion, that's a correction. I mean, it's just correcting you back to where we were at the start of the pandemic. Is that possible? Everybody will tell you, no, it's not possible. I'll tell you, yes, it is possible. It is possible. It's way worse than that. And if you do it in compared to real money, a crash will happen about 80 to 90%. Double that 40%, be about 80 to 90%. Now, I talk about real money because it's important. Real money is important. Look at that fiat money that you got. They steal from you every year. Every year they're stealing part of it, 2%. Now, 2% is not that bad. People are okay with having 2% of their money stolen every year. They're okay with that. I don't know why they're okay with that. I'm not okay with that, by the way. But right now, they're stealing about 8 to 10%. Every year they take it off. They take it off. Now, this inflation is a tax. It's a tax. It's theft. I mean, the honest tax is the income tax. You send your money in, send it in. I don't know why people send it in anymore. They could print it, right? I'm not saying not to send it in, but you go to jail if you do that. But they could print the money. They don't really need us to send it in anymore. They've proven that. Right now we are not at war according to them. According to me, we're fighting two wars. At least we're paying for two wars and we're on the verge of a third war. Okay, so according to them, according to the administration, we're not at war. Okay, we're not at war. All right. Are we in a recession? According to them, we're not in a recession. Now, according to me, we are at war. We are in a recession. I just don't agree with them. But okay, so let's say they're right. Let's just say that we're not at war. We're not in a recession. Can someone explain to me why we're printing an extra $4 trillion a year? Why we're going $4 trillion farther into debt each year if everything's so good? If everything's so great, why are there all these layoffs? I mean, the announcement just came out yesterday. Now, this is really bad. This is really bad. All right. You got the dollar stores, right? Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, Dollar General. I don't know what they are. The only thing I know is nothing's for sale for $1 anymore in the dollar store. Most of them gone up to 1.25, $1.50 because of the inflation, right? You can't have dollar stores, and that's why they're closing 1,000 of these. 1,000 dollar stores going away. Now, who does this hurt? Well, the job market, more layoffs, right? Now, who else does it hurt? Who shops at the dollar stores? Well, the poor people living in poverty. That's where they buy their food from. They go in there and buy a bag of potato chips for $1, right? Can't do that anymore. Got to pay the $4 or $5 down at the grocery store now. Okay, so $1,000 stores going out of business, But these are such great times. How's that possible? The economy is booming. Just look at the stock market. Look at the stock market. It's record high. Look at the housing market, man. We're still up here with Billy Bob got out at. How could these dollar stores do this to us? They're closing 1,000 of them, and this brings up my point. All right, so you got this inflation tax, the theft of money, right? The theft of money. Now, who does that hurt? Does that hurt the wealthy people? No, wealthy people have assets. What do assets do with inflation? They go up. Look at the stock market. Look at the stock market. It's doing great, isn't it? All right, so wealthy people don't have any problem with inflation. They get more money, more money, more money. Do you realize the top 1% in our country, in our great nation, control almost 30% of the wealth? Never been more extreme. You can go back to the Great Depression. It wasn't this extreme. Right now is a record in the most wealth controlled by the top wealthy people. Now, of course, the government, they're going to tell you, well, we're going to print money and give to the poor people. Well, that's how the rich people got this extreme. You send out the stimulus checks. Who did they go to? They went to Bezos. They went to Buffett. Yeah, they didn't send them to Bezos and Buffett, but everybody took their stimulus check, went to Amazon. They went to Buffett Company. See's Candy would be one of them. They went and bought a lot of candy, right? So that wealthy people just got extremely rich. I mean, they doubled, tripled their money. How'd the poor people do? Well, they spent that $500-$600 stimulus check and now they're poor. But here's what happened. The prices went up on them because everybody consumed, and so they inflated the prices of everything. Did the prices go back down now that the poor person's broke? No, he's still broke, but the prices are still high. He is getting just slammed, right? That's what inflation does. Kills off the poor people soon, mark my words. People are going to die from starvation in our country, the greatest country in the world. People will not be able to afford to eat. What does that do? It raises crime. They're going to steal. They have to buckle down things. They have to put those sensors on the meat products because people walk in and put them under their shirt, run out the door, but now they got the sensors on them, so it beeps. You can't go stop them, though, because if you stop them, you're the one that gets arrested, not the person stealing the stuff. But anyways, the poor people are going to need to eat, so you're going to see crime spiking up as this inflation number starts to accelerate. Who else gets hurt? Well, the middle class, people like me and you. We get, the middle class becomes now the poor class. We go start to live in poverty. Why? Because prices keep our purchasing power. Purchasing power keeps going away. But Mike, the dollar's strong. It's strong against the Mexico peso, and it's strong against a lot of currencies. Only problem is it can't buy you anything anymore. The dollar is going away. They're going to keep inflating, but the rich, they're going to get richer. They're going to get wealthy. We're going to prop up that stock market. See, that's what the government has to do. The Fed, they got a choice. Should we keep our rich friends rich and just kill off the poor people? Or should we actually do it fair, and then our rich people, they're going to lose some money? Well, we can't do that. We got to keep our rich people rich. That's why we want to inflate. Not 2%. They're running 8 to 10%, and we're accelerating. And they're talking about doing rate cuts already. Wave that white flag again because we surrender. Inflation wins. Banking system, we got to lower it down to zero. Otherwise, the whole financial system goes down. Be careful. Maybe pull some money out of the bank. I don't trust the banks. Yes, you're going to get paid back. Yes, the government will print enough money to pay you back. I get that. But how long will it take to get your money back? You go up to the ATM teller and all of a sudden it says you have nothing. You go in and or door's locked, what are you going to do? Who are you going to call? It ain't Ghostbusters. I'm telling you, they ain't going to get your money back. Look, the government will get your money back. It'll take them 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Can you live without your money that long? Banks make me nervous. This is just me talking, though. Of course, you might feel perfectly safe with banks. You might think this is just fear porn. You might think this is what I do for fun. Some people tell me I'm just scamming people out of their houses. I'm a real estate broker and I'm saying houses are going to go down. So I'm just scamming those people to sell their house so I can make money. That's what I'm doing, I got more business than I want, really. I'm kind of retired. I'm getting to that age where I don't want to work too hard. I'll sell my 3, 4, 5 houses a year and just sit back and relax a little bit. But look at this. I'm not trying to scam anyone. I don't have anything to sell. You do whatever you want. But look, it may be what I'm doing, I'm protecting myself. I'm buying some silver. I'm buying some gold. These are taking off. They're taking off, and everything else is going to come crashing down in comparison to silver and gold. That's just my take. Now, you might have that moon boy take where Bitcoin's going to 1 million. Hurry up and buy it, right? It's like a reverse lottery. Look, when you bought it at $1 and it went to 70,000, that's like winning the lottery. Now you buy it at 70,000, watch it go back to $1. It's the reverse lottery. But of course, people tell you I'm an idiot. It's going to 1 million. What are you talking about, Tall Mike? I'm going to get out there. I'm going to buy all the Bitcoin I can. And great for you. I hope it goes to 1 million. Anyways, it's a Friday. I got a little carried away. Give me the thumbs up before the weekend, but get out there, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Smash the subscribe button. Why not? Why not? Bye-bye.